Good evening, everyone. And yes, it's evening, and I'm starting my video early tonight because I don't want to have the stress tomorrow of uploading. And I was hoping that I was going to get it done even earlier, but no, it didn't happen. It took me all afternoon to do Sarah's stitches. Okay, so her video will probably go up before mine. And so I've done chain stitch. I did a zigzag chain stitch. So instead of doing them in a straight line, I did one chain stitch up there and a chain stitch down there, up there, down there, just the same way, but up and down. So it creates a zigzag. This is a chain stitch done with that thick DMC cotton. And then all I did was a running stitch all the way in and out of it. You probably can't see it because it's quite blendy, but it's actually really pretty. And I did it here. The stitch went over at the base of each stitch, each chain stitch, and I thought I quite like that effect. Then these are my lazy daisies, and then I did them like this. And you could also put a couple of stitches inside in another color as well, and have another effect, so you fill it in. And you can also continue two more, maybe put two more petals down there and you've got a flower. Then the next one was blanket stitch. I hope I didn't miss anything. Satin stitch. This is satin stitch, so that's just regular satin stitch. I do it quite loosely. And then I did a few circles. So I've done a circle with vertical stitches. And one hint that Mum always gave me, I don't know if I haven't seen Sarah's video yet, so I'm not sure what hints she will give. But Mum always says start in the center of the circle and work your way out. This one I did diagonally and that one a bit more horizontal. I did a leaf here and I outlined it with back stitch, and then I filled it in with satin stitch in a slightly different color. I did the same here, and I did stem stitch around it and then satin stitch inside. Now with these kind of shapes, you should always do them in a diagonal, because if you go straight across like that, you won't be able to get your little stitch in the point down there. And then I did just a row of satin stitch with a variegated thread here, a narrower row. Here I whipped it as after I had done the satin stitch, and here I put crosses over it. So you can do all kinds of you could put bullion knots over the top of those if you wanted. With these ones here, it's also a very nice thing to outline shapes and stuff. And so what I did here to get my thickness was, you could put a piece of, thick wool underneath and just go over the top. What I did was just, I did 3 stitches with just a navy blue thread. And it's actually, if you do a nice thread underneath, then it doesn't matter if you can see it. And then I put 3 parallel long stitches, and then I just went over with the satin stitch. I did both, just 2 different types of threads there. And then this is the herringbone stitch. Now I did that last week. I called it the long-legged stitch. This is herringbone stitch. Actually, I didn't do it right. It was meant to be more. It's not actually long-legged. It's long-armed, and it's meant to be more sort of. I'm trying to figure it out. More crossing over like that was what I was supposed to be doing, but I didn't do it. I did. Sarah told me you've done herringbone stitch, and I said, well, it wouldn't be me if I didn't do a stitch wrong. So this is herringbone stitch, and then I put little, my little variation is putting a little plus sign where the stitch meets. And then here I went over, what I did was I came up here, and then I I went under and around there, over there, around there, like that. So it's double. And then we've got, I always get this one wrong, the fly stitch, which is like a Y. So I did some bigger ones, some narrow ones with some wool. This is a narrow fly stitch, or closed fly stitch, where you can sort of create a feather sort of shape or a leaf shape. Like if you do it more narrow at the top and then have your stitches to create that shape, then you can use it a lot for leaves. And this is an open feather stitch. So it's these Ys just continued on, all attached to each other. Sarah will have shown you that. And I did a few little sort of spriggy sort of leaves. Okay. So I won't finish all of my video tonight, but I thought I'd get it started, so that way we've got a fighting chance tomorrow of having it all happening at the right time. So my next stitch is bullion knot. Now, sometimes, quite often, we call it bullion stitch, but Sarah was like, oh no, it's bullion knot, not stitch. But I read in Sue Spargo's book, she calls it bullion knot in the title, but then she calls it bullion stitch in the description. So I think either or is okay. Just in case the bullion knot police are out and about and going to become angry with me. Now, bullion knot is quite nice, and I might call it bullion stitch sometimes, so be prepared. Is quite lovely with a variegated thread. So let's choose this one. And I'm going to take maybe 3 strands. You know, there's not too, well, you know, like you can do clusters of bullion knots. I mean, there's a few, there's sort of not like a heap of variations to the stitch. Except maybe like, and you need a longer, this is where but I don't like threading them, a Milner's needle is good. These are Chanel needles, the ones with the big eyes. And they're quite, I've tried to keep them in their numbers because I'm quite a messy person. These are Milner's needles. You see they're longer and they have tiny eyes. So sometimes they're good to use for beading as well. The only thing is they're a bit of a pain in the what to thread. Like, there's no hope of me threading that one. Just forget it. I'll try this one. Otherwise, I'll just go back to my regular bodgy needles. So I bought these because Ariane Zersha, she uses them. I don't know how she threads them because they're a nightmare. They really are a nightmare to thread. Now, I might be called down for dinner and then that'll be it. Okay, I've done it. Now, the benefits of a Milner's needle when you're doing, we'll do a quilter's knot. So hold your tail, this is the point of your needle, down there, hold on to it, wrap it around 2 or 3 times, and then slide it all the way down to the bottom. And then you get, and the benefits, I guess, of a quilter's knot is that it's not quite as bulky as other knots. But I'm a bit lazy, I don't always do it. I don't know how many threads I've got here. I think I've got 3, I might have 4. So, I guess I'm just going to do them up and down. I always forget how to start. I need to go there. I've done them for a bit. I think I've got to come up there and go like this. Yes, that's it. So come here and then you peek out. You poke out near where you started, and then you just start wrapping. Now I've got quite a lot of space there, so I'll probably wrap. I'm thinking, let me see, 1, that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and just slide them down. Don't pull them too tight. 7, 8, 9, 10. I think 10 will be enough. So you just put your finger on them to hold them, and then pull your needle through. And if you pull them too tight, you won't be able to pull your needle through. And then they do just jiggle into place. It's a really cool stitch. If I afterwards I'll show you. So I've got to come up here. I'll show you places where I used it. So I'll do it a few times. So don't push it right through. And remember how many times? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now, I'm just doing the same, trying to do the same number of stitches because I'm keeping them more or less the same size. But you'll start to see the effect of the variegated thread with the bullion knot. So I'm just doing it in a row here, but I've used it to fill in things, and it's really, really lovely stitch. Once you learn how to do it, it's lovely. Now, now you will do as many wraps as you need to fill. This is what you need to cover here. So here I might not have put enough wraps, or I can just spread them out a little bit. So for this space here, 10 I think is enough wraps, and I'm just coming all through the same hole or just near it. And most important is don't pull your wraps too tight. 1, 2, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now you can obviously see that if you have a short needle, you're going to have some trouble if you need to put more wraps on it. If you don't need to put too many wraps on it, if you're going to do little ones, then you won't have any trouble. Oh, I love them. So we'll do a few more. And then I'll pause the camera because I said I'm going to pause the camera this week, because otherwise it's going to be an epic video. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I always count out aloud. I don't know why. I just do it. Okay. So let me have a think here. What would I recommend? So I've had quite a lot of questions. So you don't have to have all the variety of threads that I have. It's a lifetime of collecting for me. And also I've been lucky. I've been given a lot of stuff from my mum and my aunt. And my mum's bought stuff and they're not being able to take it back because she had too much stuff to take home. And so 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So she's left it with me. So that's just lucky. I mean, if you want to, I would recommend that you have your regular DMC stranded threads, maybe a couple of perlé cottons, number 8s, and maybe some number 5s. If you've got some tapestry wool, by all means, yes, we can use tapestry wool. I've already been using it for some of my sampler. Absolutely. As long as your fabric is not difficult to stitch through, you can use tapestry wool. And it's good for other things, which you'll see soon. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 8. No, I think I lost a few. I'll do a few extras. Yeah, so though, oh gosh, I've unthreaded now. That's going to be fun and fresh. So I would recommend having those, your regular basic cottons. And now if you're just starting out and you don't have those, then I would focus on getting those. And don't worry about fancy threads. Now DMC do have a range of variegated threads, and I do have a few of them from the early days. I'm getting low on those ones. And I probably won't replace them because I then got these. I mean, this was very inexpensive. This was, I told you, was in a gift shop. Excuse me. It was quite a surprise to find that one. Did they all go in? Yes. So I'll do a couple more. And then if you do have a base of threads, then maybe you can venture out and maybe get a couple of Appleton wools, which are the crewel wools for crewel embroidery. And they're lovely to use. And then then there's the whole variety of, variegated threads, hand-dyed threads, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And maybe just select a few of your favorite colors. That's what I recommend. Don't go bananas. What if you didn't, I'm stuck. What if you didn't enjoy embroidery? Then what would you do? And you'd bought all these threads. So just, if you're going to add to your stash of threads or you're starting out, I'd get the basics, and then you can slowly add 1 or 2 at a time as you go. Now I'm really stuck here, guys. This is not good. There we go. I've sorted it out. My thread is probably twisted, but you'll see this is a hot mess here. It'll sort out. I just tug and push, tug and push, and there you go. Look at that. Who knew? It's sorted out. Okay, we'll do one more. And then I will continue on this row, and I'm just going to change my thread and do it with a few different threads just for the fun of it. And then we will come back and do a variation, I think. I'll have a think about that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now you see my difficulty here. That's like what would happen if I had a short needle, because I hadn't pushed my needle right through. So I think this thread, this length of thread is done. It doesn't want to do any more. So I'll end this one off and then make a start on the next. Okay, so I'm just going to, I try to catch a little bit of my fabric behind as well, just a thin thread of it, just to anchor down my knot sort of bit, so I'm not just pulling my stitches. Okay. Okay, so you can see what the bullion knot is, and then you can do it. Let me just grab my thing, my tags, my and tags. I call them the and tags. And let's see where I've used. There's the daisy stitch. They're all daisy stitches, lazy daisy stitches. I just want to show you some examples. There's little seed stitches, cross stitches. You see what fun you can have with all of these stitches. That's satin stitch, and you see I've done it at an angle. I wanted to find the one where I'd done, oh look, I did little loopy bullion stitches here around the bird. So they're all bullion stitches, but I've done them, I put more wraps on than the length that I needed. So, and that's all bullion stitches as well. But I wanted to show you this other one that I had done. Oh, aren't they fun? Oh, it's here. I can't remember. Oh, I know. The other one that I did that was really fun that had bullion stitch was... look, they're all little... 2 bullion stitches together. We'll do that. Let's do that. 2 bullion stitches together, because it has a cute effect. And then I wanted to show you... I'm trying to find it. Bullion stitches over the rings. So the bullion stitches are anchoring down the ring here, and those I did all on my and tags. That I'll tell you what week that was if you want to go back and see that. That's week 11 here. These are all little bullion stitches in there. Okay, that was inspired by Facile Cecile, and they're all little bullion stitches. So it can be a filler stitch as well. Okay, just to give you an idea. That's a little bit of being sidetracked. So let's do 2 bullion stitches together. So I'm going to choose a thread. Maybe I've never used this one. See, this is a DMC variegated thread. They're not quite as pretty as the, you know, the hand-dyed ones, but this is a DMC one, and that one I love. That one's really nice. I love that one, but I won't use it for this because I've only got a little bit left, and I don't think I'll probably buy it again. I don't even know if it's available anymore. Oh gosh, stop being distracted, Rachel, because that's why your videos are too long. Okay, it's nearly din time. I've got hubby downstairs. He's cooking. It's always nice. Isn't that always nice? Obviously, you can change how many threads you use depending on how big you want it, how thick you know. The number of threads is just how thick do you want your stitches to be. Do you want them to fill quickly? Like these, I used 6 strands. I just wanted it to fill quickly. These were all 6 strands. Now, one thing about satin stitch, it does take a long time. So don't think you're going anywhere fast if you're doing satin stitch, because it's going to take you a while. You're going to be there for a while. And those 2 rows probably took me almost, no, I won't say as long, but almost as long as the rest all put together, because it's a very slow thing. And don't fret, like you need to practice. Like mine is still a bit like a dog's breakfast. They're not perfect. When you see my mum's, they're perfect. And I bet Sarah's are perfect as well. But mine are never perfect. Now we'll do little shorter ones here. So shorter. So I just wanted to show you the concept that if they're shorter, then you need less wraps. So I'm going to put 6, 4, 5, 6. I've got 3 strands. And you'll see the joys of threads that change colour. I used to be anti-threads that change colour, but when you start stitching, they do look really good. Now, I want to put 2 together. Oh, you see, look what's happened. This is a disaster. So one thread has unthreaded, so I have to fix it. Now, what has happened here? There it is. Fortunately, oh, it's 4 strands. Something's burning. I'm just calling down to the chef to let him know that something is burning. I think he's ignoring me. Okay, that was good, that threaded. So then, to do the 2 together, I want them one to be a bit shorter. I've got to come up. I've got to anchor that one down first. Never forget that. And then I want it to be a little bit longer and tuck around there. And then, so I'm going to do that one a little bit longer. I think I'll do 9 wraps. Gosh, it's hard. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Don't pull it too tight. Now, it does take practice. Now, this is what the sampler is for. It takes practice. And I love the way it just sorts itself out. It looks a mess, and then look at that. And there's 2 little stitches, and you could put 2 little green lazy daisies there, single chain stitches, and there you go, you've got a bud. Or you could put little satin stitches there, 2 together or 3 together, and then you've got another bud. So we'll do, no, I've got to come up here. You've got to always start at the top. Remind yourself, start at the top. Come down to the bottom and go back to the top. Leave your needle in there and then wrap. You've got to guesstimate how many wraps you need to do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I might do 7 just to be sure. Oh, I think Lily's making fun of me. Down there. I can hear her making fun. That's not nice. So anchor it down. Don't forget to anchor it down or you'll get yourself in a mess. Okay, so up at the top, back down to the bottom, back up to the top. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, can you hear them down there? I don't know what's worse, the people upstairs or them down there. There we go. Oh, I like that one. I'm creating my little buds. So I'll do a couple more. I said I was going to stop the video, didn't I? A little short one. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I've unthreaded. This is not good. Well, I'll put you on pause and then I'll be back. So I'm back. I've had my din-din and let me just move the light over closer. And I'm doing 3, which is also cute. So to do 3, I do recommend starting in the center and doing a slightly longer one in the center. So start at the top, come down in the bottom, but don't push your needle right through when you go back to the top. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So Lulu's helping Steffi wash so I can keep on keeping on before the news. So I do my center one and just jiggle it along. It does sort of sort itself out. And then my 2 side ones are a little bit shorter. So I'm coming up a little bit further down from the top of my last one. And I'm going to anchor it down at the base of my other one. Whoops. There. And I'm going to put a few less stitches on here. 6. Just do 6. That gives you that sort of oval shape, and I'm in a tangle here. Oh dear. Oh, I turn the camera on and I get into a tangle. My thread's tangled. I've got a knot somewhere, I think. There we go, sorted it out. All goes well and then you turn on the camera and you get into a mess. There we go. But the thing about the bullion knot is that it does sort itself out. So just, you know, just got to wiggle it. So I'm going to anchor that down, and then I'm going to come on the other side and put another one up here. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6. I might do 7. There we go. I'm thinking, yeah, you can do them. I think I've done bullion knots with, or stitches with wool. Let's try a little bit of wool. See how we go with that. I'll leave that messy thread over there, or even perle cotton is good. Now let me see my wools. I'll do some wools. Let's do. Will I do this bright green? No, not bright green. We've got lots of green. Maybe I'll do this, keep it in these tones. But I won't be able to thread it on this one. So I'm going to have to get my big, larger eye needle, because this, I won't be able to thread it. So that's short, that one. They're all short. So you'll see the difficulties in having a shorter needle. But for this type of thread, you need it. So, I mean, obviously you can change the direction of your bullion stitch and the lengths. I'm going to do some nice longer, slightly longer, because this is thicker, this thread, so I will be able to fill it up faster. 5, 6, 7, maybe we'll try 7. Whereas before I did 10 for about that length, but with this, definitely do not pull your wraps too tight. So there we look how lovely that is. It's lovely and textural, and it does work. You just may need to change your thread more often, because this does start to wear, this type of thread. My good Lulu, you're very loud. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7. Okay. So I'll just do a couple of those just to see the effect. Definitely don't need to wrap it around quite as often. And this is a nice edging. You can use it as a filler. You can use it to couch things on, which you'll see a little bit later in this video. It's a really great stitch. I'm not counting. Oh, well, it doesn't matter. I know you guys are enormously entertained by my counting. Okay. Okay, so I'll only do 3 of those. And then I wanted to experiment and do a few other things. So we'll change our thread again, because this is what the sampler is about. It's okay, look up on Pinterest and in your books and practice stitches, but also go with what your mind is saying. I know I said it to you last week. Oh, I want to try that. Oh, I want to try this. And you'll probably find you want to try these different things, and they are actually real stitches. So okay, so that's that one. Then I'm going to grab I might grab a Stiff Francis pearl cotton. I might do some purple. I haven't had any purple for a while, a variegated one. And I'll have to thank my husband. He's done dinner, he's washed the dishes, and I'm going to grab my long needle for this, because I want to do some loopy ones. No, that's no good. Okay, got it. Okay, so what I want to do is I'm only going to do one row of the bullion stitch, I think. And I'm going to have a little short one, but what I'm going to do is do lots of wraps. So I'm literally going to almost fill my needle with wraps, almost. I probably won't be that brave. I'm not even going to count, I'm just going to do it. Let's start off with that. Let's just carefully pull it through. Let's see what happens. Oh, I could have, there they are, look, see that? And then this is what I did around the bird. So you can leave it loopy like that. So we'll leave a few loopies. So not too much difference between the top and the bottom. And just like fill the needle. If you want them all the same count, I don't care whether they're all the same. This is just a sampler. Like fill the needle. I don't mean literally fill the needle, but you know what I mean. And they kind of, the longer they are, they'll twirl. See how it's twirling? And you don't want them to bunch on top of each other. Oh, someone's listening to ABBA. I have to do things in threes, so we'll do, look, there's another loopy there, and they sort of twist and twirl a little bit. I like those. When you're wanting to create a little bit of texture or something fun, and obviously like you could have a ring under there and that you're couching it on. So filling up my needle. And then I wanted to show you a variation of the loopy bullion knot. I used to be terrified of this stitch. I'm not scared of it anymore. It's such a fun stitch. Okay, so my next one, I'm going to go horizontally. So I'm going to turn it around and treat this like this is the top. Come up to the top. I'm going to have a little short one, and then I'm going to go like this, but I'm going to wrap more than what I need. That might be enough because it's not very big stitch. And then I want to show you how I went around the bird. Now I haven't watched it yet, but Ariane Zersha has just put out a video talking about threads and needles. And I mean, guys, don't freak out if you go and watch the video, because so there's my little loop. I'm going to actually anchor it down with a little stitch. So you can create this little scallop. And then I'm going to do my next one. So probably eyeballing about the distance. Turn it around. So it's from bottom to top. So you can go round a shape with this. Always remembering not to pull them too tight. Adjusting them. Put your thing down and just wiggle them along till they sort of sit nicely, and you've pulled your thread so it's nice and tight. Now there's also, like, you can do a bullion knot rose. I haven't ever done that. I imagine it's like starting off really small like this and then doing little loopy ones around it. That's how I imagine you do it. I've never done it. And we'll fit another one in there. Okay, and I'll do 10. And that will be our bullion knot done. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now I need to refer to my list to see what is next. I'm feeling less anxious because I've started already and it's night time. See, just jiggle it around. So we've got all our variations in one row here. Oh, and I wanted to say, really have been loving seeing all of the posting on Instagram and seeing all of your samplers. And there's been some amazing ones even that had a little bit of space at the bottom and have done, you know, a row of flowers, practicing the stitches, or I think one, I don't know if I imagined it, but one I think even had a bird. Love it. Absolutely love it, guys. Sass and I are thrilled, and so is Mum. I think Mum's like, I don't know how to follow the hashtag. And I'm like, Mum, just go on the hashtag and click follow. So I think she did, but I'm not sure. Okay, so what's next? Next we've got, oh, couching. Couching's really good. I love couching. So let's start with some basic couching. Okay, what will I use? So couching is really good for those types of threads. Let me just grab one. So couching is really good for these types of threads. Like some of these you can stitch. Some of them, like some of these packs that you can buy sometimes are more, I'm sure you could do a few stitches with this one. Are we doing too many of those colours? No, let's do this colour and we'll couch it. We might go bright. We might couch it with this. So couching is really good for those threads that are really thick. So I don't need the milliner's needle anymore. So what I do is, if I can, I will, my thread that I'm couching, I will also go through the fabric with. You'll see what I mean in a minute. And then this is my thread that's going to be holding it. But you can really go to town with couching. Couching is the best. I'll tell you who does a lot of couching is Jessie Chorley. She does a lot of couching. So this one, this orange thread, I just got that in a pack at the quilt show in Sydney many moons ago. So let me just move these out of the way. I've sort of written down a few things that I might like to do, but I don't think I wrote much down for the couching. Okay, so what you do is you come through with this thread. I could even embroider with this thread. So I want to couch this thread on, okay? Now couching is when you hold your thread like so, and you come with another colour or a similar colour, whatever you like, and you do these little stitches. So this is basic couching, and the stitches hold the thread. There's so much scope for couching. See, the little stitches are holding the thread in place. So you can maneuver this thread anywhere you want to go. So we'll just do a row of couching here. So I'm just going to keep on going on. I'll pause the video because otherwise I get carried away and then I want to just stay on the whole time. So I'll pause the video. I'll get to the end here and I'll show you how I ended off. Okay, so I'm back. And so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to, with this one, it's going to go down the end there. See, with this one I can do that because it's not too thick and it will go through my fabric. So I can do that. I'll put one last stitch and I'll end those off. And it's kind of good if you can do that, because otherwise you really have to stitch it down in place, the ends of your couch. But we'll do that as well, so you can see what I mean. Okay, so that's good. That's that done. And we'll put that one over there. I was trying to be neat and tidy and keep things in order, but it won't last 5 seconds. Okay, so that's that. Put that there. Did I turn you back on? Oh yes, and you're shaking. So that's one couched row. Now let me see what else I can. Oh, where is it? It's over there, I think. Just a sec. this one? Mary gave me, yes, these. Now some of these threads in here we go, now we're in action. Some of these are from those. My sister gave me these from the Happen store. Here, look, here's a piece. Now what do you do with that? That's going to be hard to stitch down, isn't it? That one might be able, you might, look at this and this one. Okay, they're gorgeous, but they're very thick. Here's another one. So you can do really fun things with couching. Now, with the couching, you can follow a shape, draw a circle, hold your thing and go round and do a circle. But you can also just do these really thick ones. So I might cut this the length that I want. Or maybe I even want to do it even thicker. Maybe we'll do that after. We'll do that one after. Let's do this one. So this one, I love couching. This is very thick. Now that won't really go through my fabric. So let me think of what colour thread do I want. I might use this one. I'll use some variegated ones. These are fun. This is a Perle number 8 by Steph Francis. And I'm going to couch on a thick one. Oh, I've got 2 needles. Well, that's fun and fresh, isn't it? I was trying to thread two needles at the same time. I'm using the crewel needle because it's got a bigger eye. Now, you've got to hold it in place. And I'm going to put a few stitches at the end here. I might put 2 and pull them really tight so that way you're holding it. Pull it tight because you don't want it to come out. Okay, and then you can go on and couch this nice thick felty woolly sort of thing, and I'll just do sort of up and down stitches. Actually, I like to jump across like this because you actually waste less thread if you jump across. Instead of going up like that, jumping across like this, you do less distance with your thread and you don't waste as much. And you can even fill things with this. It's a nice border to put on the edge of things as well. In my Christmas fun book, oh gosh, that was a long time ago, I did all these projects for Christmas. It's an ebook, and I made a table runner, and this is the type of thing that I did. I did a little bit of this along the edge, and that was totally inspired by Mum, because she hasn't ever finished it. She started doing this amazing Christmas runner, and she'd done she'd stitched on all this felted wool cord along the edges, and it was just amazing. Looked really good. I did ask Mum if she minded if I took, used her idea. And there, just like that, you've done a row. Really nice, really fun. So then you can also couch on strips of fabric. We won't do it all because otherwise, I just can't do it all. But you can couch on strips of fabric as well. Fabric couched on looks really cool. Okay, so we'll end that off. We'll do the next one. And the next one I might do this yellow here. Now maybe I'll do this double shorter one. It's nearly going to make it. Maybe I'll put it like that so it nearly goes across, so it's even thicker. And excuse me, we might do, what colour will I do on there? I do this colour. I haven't ever used this colour before. And I'm going to do a different, like always the up and down, but space it differently. So it's not going to quite make it across, so I'll just leave it as is. But then it will sort of start off thinner, but then it will get thicker. So again, just start again as before, pulling it tight. You can create a pattern. So let me think, what pattern do I want to do? So I might go two stitches and then jump across, leave a distance. Oh no, I've got to capture that, so maybe I'll do 4 stitches because I've got to capture the end there, the other end. So capture that, pull it tight. Now I'm going to jump. I can't remember whether I'm at the top or the bottom, and I'm going to do 2. So you can create a pattern across with your couching, which I think is really fun as well. So these are all things to be explored when we're doing our book. Now, you don't have to use all of the stitches in your book. This is just, you know, a way to learn some different things that you might use down the track. You might not use them all now. You might use them in another project. So, yep, you can really do so many variations with couching. So many variations. Like literally, I would finish off this whole thing just couching because I love it. And Mum actually taught me to couch. She uses it a lot in her work. So you can do it with the thin or the thick. And it's a great way. That's why I always say anything goes. Like you can use any threads you like, because the thick ones that you can't really embroider with or that are fragile and might break, well, you can couch those on. You can couch on a piece of fabric that you like. You can couch anything. So we're nearly there. We'll finish off this one. I wasn't supposed to be finishing off the whole rose. I'm going to pause you. I've got to remember to do that. I'm back. So I've got this yellow and I've taken this. It's sort of like a woolly sort of thread. So you could go over when you're couching, like here we went up and down, but here you could do it in a more loopy sort of fashion, if you know what I mean. Actually, I need to exaggerate it a bit further. And then I wanted to show you towards the end, I'm going to do bullion knots over it. So we'll do 2/3 like this, and then we'll change colour. And we'll end up with bullion knots. So then I've got room. I've still got to do a few more stitches yet. Let's see how much I've got left. Oh, there's plenty of room for some bullion knots. I'll do one more. So here, you could leave this like that in that sloping sort of fashion. You could do them closer. But I'm going to go back and cross them. So you could go back over with a different colour if you wanted to. It almost looks like it's a plait with a ribbon through it. So I'm not being too careful about being neat here. I don't want to take up too much time. But I love the texture that this creates. So here we go, nearly at the end. So lots of ideas can happen. I'll be super excited to see how you guys go with the couching, because couching is really fun. I might just even cross over that one, even though I didn't do it as a cross. There we go. And now I'm just going to end that off and grab another colour and then show you how I do my bullion over the top, because that's really cool as well. And I've got my correct box that I wanted to use. I tell you what threads are really nice, these sock ones. These sock ones are really great. Maybe I'll use this one. It's a bit wonky. It's a bit wonksters. Oh, I'm really liking this one. I was just really not into it when I first started, when I started up the top, and then I really am getting into it now. So when you're doing the bullion stitch as a couching stitch, so couching means stitching something, going over something, like you go over it. You don't go through it, you go over it. And so it's holding it on. So it's just the same process. Like, you've got to remember, start at the top, come through like so, and then, you know, guess how many. One, I probably should have had my longer needle. I don't even know how many times I went around. Doesn't really matter. Pull it through, and then jiggle it around. And there we go. Look at that. It's very cool. I don't know if we might get to start at the top. We might get to the part where we might put a few less wraps on, just so I'm sure that it's tight enough. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I don't know how many I did in the last one, so we'll just see. If you were worried, no, that's like, looks like it's holding better, so I've got to come back up to the top. So here you get to see the bullion stitch in action again. There you saw cross stitch. Two, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 seems to be the one. Love that. So up at the top, then through the bottom, back to the top, do your wraps. 2, 3, 4. Oh dear. So you get the gist. So I'll pause you, I'll finish off one more stitch, I'll rethread, and then I'll be back with the next one.